By far the most disappointing team last year in the NBA was the Dallas Mavericks, as coming to year Dallas had just made the West Finals and was riding high after a great postseason. And with that being the case, they had some pretty lofty goals to win at least 49 games in the West and be a semi-contender. Now, unfortunately for Mavs fans, they didn't even crack 40 wins and didn't make the playoffs, let alone the play-in tournament. Last year's Mavericks team was a colossal failure, and the fact they had Kyrie Irving mid-season only compounded how much of a failure last year was. And for Luka Doncic the individual, last year by far was his worst NBA season. And with that being the case, a lot of the media, even fans, kind of began to question if Luka Doncic got crowned too early, as being a top 5 player, one of the elite offensive forwards, one of the future greats in the NBA. Those debates definitely happened, but luckily for Luka Doncic, he's barely even 25 years old yet and had tons of time to win that elusive championship. And coming to this year Dallas, Luka himself, Kyrie, Jason Kidd, even some of the role players were kind of on the hot seat to bounce back and be a top 5 seed in the West. And so far Luka individually and team winning wise has delivered in 2023. As so far, he's averaging 31.6 points, typical Luka scoring, 9.6 boards, nearly 9 assists, on 49% shooting and 41% from deep. Currently in the NBA, Luka Doncic is the only player in the NBA top 5 in scoring and assists, and second in made threes, only behind Steph Curry at 4.4. If Luka somehow keeps this pace up from deep, when it's all said and done this year, he could crack 350 plus made threes, which rank 3rd all time, only behind 2016 Curry and 2019 James Harden. And the positive impact Luka's had on his teammates, and especially his new teammates, can't be understated, as someone like Grant Williams has taken a massive leap in Dallas. Look, in Boston we knew this guy was a decent player off the bench and a solid role player. But with Luka Doncic, Grant Williams has kind of been unlocked, as defensively, he can hold his own versus 3s and 4s and even small ball 5s. And as a catch and shoot player, he's extremely deadly with tons of confidence. And if you look at both Grant Williams and Tim Hardaway Jr., in large part due to Luka, their spot-up shooting is off the charts, as both these guys rank top 5 in spot-up shooting scoring. Grant Williams being first at 8.7 points on 50% shooting, and Tim Hardaway being 5th at just under 7. Playing with Luka Doncic undoubtedly has unlocked both these players. If the defense is so focused on Luka, these guys get wide open looks every single night. And when you have someone like Luka Doncic, an elite scorer, elite passer, and playmaker, the best bet for the defense is let his teammates beat him. As when it comes to Luka the individual, his ISO scoring still is off the charts. As last year in the NBA, he was leading scorer for ISO points, and this year is on pace to repeat that. As so far in 2023, he's averaging 10.8 points per game on nearly 60% shooting on ISO scoring, ahead of De'Aaron Fox, Jason Tatum, Cam Thomas, and even Kevin Durant. And for the Kyrie-Luka Doncic duo, when they really formed, the recipe for this team's success really was pretty simple, as both Kyrie and Luka are elite offensive talents, and Kyrie, unlike most score-first guards, can actually play off the ball. So pairing him with Luka Doncic, in all reality, is a perfect fit. Now, Kyrie's overall stats this year kind of are down, only at 20 points per game on subpar Kyrie shooting splits. But in all reality, Kyrie's play so far, him not playing the Kyrie standards, really hasn't had an impact on the team negatively. As the things Dallas needs Kyrie to do great, he is still doing great. As when it comes to ISO scoring, Kyrie, just like Luka, is elite in that aspect, averaging 5.3 points, tied for 6th in the NBA on above 50% shooting. And one stat I just couldn't even believe, Luka and Kyrie's offensive rating when they're on the court is actually lower compared to when they're off the court. It seems unreal, but it's actually true. Once again, showing Dallas' supporting cast is much improved and so far to this point, playing up to par. And one of the weapons Luka Doncic got in the draft was Derek Lively, debatably the steal of the draft, as this guy so far has came out of nowhere, has taken the starting center role, and has been Dwight Powell on steroids. As so far Lively is a walking double-double, solid on defense, and shooting north of 75%. And if you look at paint scoring only within 5 to 10 feet, out of the top 25 paint scorers Lively ranks second in field goal percentage, only behind Jakob Poeltl at 84.4%. What that stat should tell you is that Luka Doncic is a cheat code on offense, as someone like Lively just got picked up, plugged in, and was ready to go off the bat, and already is an elite player at the rim, largely because of Luka. Now, kind of looking at the downside of Luka, one thing he's critiqued about all the time is his defense. And look, so far this year, he hasn't been anything special on the defensive end. But I think Luka, in a weird way, kind of like Jokic and Steph Curry, he's one of those rare players whose offensive gifts are so overwhelming they kind of offset and nullify his defensive limitations. As Luka on ISO scoring, passing, playmaking, his pick and roll game, it's all next level and virtually unstoppable. I mean, look at his pick and roll scoring this year. He ranks second in the NBA at 10.7 points on 61% shooting. That is video game type stuff. And combining his whole skill set, that's why Dallas so far is 4th in offensive rating and 5th in points per game at above 120 points. Luka's offensive stats, the raw numbers, 30 points, 9 assists, and 9 boards, kind of remain the same. But the advanced metrics, his pick and roll game, ISO play, those numbers have drastically picked up and gotten even better. And when talking about guys like Luka Doncic, who's already an NBA superstar before 25, when it comes to these guys, it's not really wise to doubt them. And I've seen many debates about him versus Tatum, who's actually better overall player. And look, as much as I love Tatum, Luka's offensive game still is another stratosphere. Yes, Tatum is the better overall defender, and that's highly valuable. But Luka's offensive output, how night to night he's always there, 30 points, 8 boards, 8 assists, that for Luka is always there and guaranteed. And when it comes to the playoffs, every single time this dude gets better in the postseason. Again, Tatum is great in the playoffs, but his overall play doesn't jump up like Luka Doncic. And while I think both these guys eventually will be MVPs, NBA champions, Luka at this point just has that kind of it factor I look for in a superstar player. So that right there is the end of the video. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.